Alright. With Leo getting himself settled, I need to get a few things prepared to talk with Yvonne and Aranya. I mean, I had known there had to be jerks around. I had just hoped to be able to get a bit more prepared first. Locals are always easier to keep friendly. Nobody wants to go rocking the boat if they have to actually live on the boat after. So if that group has some idea about me, others will eventually too. I can't force people to not be stupid, but I can prepare so I don't get any of it on me and mine. Aranya and Yvonne definitely count in that group, so I'll be giving them something a little before it's perfectly ready, but the finishing touches can come later. Really, they just need to be filled up, which is something that will take time. The other thing, though, is I'm probably going to be doing the Isekai hero thing of introducing new crap. I don't have the internet, so I can't just give a schematic, but I do have my secrets of creation in the form of an understanding of engineering. I just hope reality isn't just magic, and that magic doesn't just override my understandings. I get to making some notes in the secret library, while I wait for the sun to set and Aranya to wake up. Leo.
What kind of dungeon has he signed on with? There's so many outsiders around. Why does his new alpha let them just run around? The tone with the voice only raises more questions, especially with how many other scions there are. It actually has a scion for everything. How does it support that kind of cost? Letting the outsiders live is so much less mana for the dungeon. As the talk progresses, he starts to see how. This alpha doesn't focus on just felling a few big elk. No, it understands how to get enough rabbits to more than make up for it. This new alpha may still be a pup, but it's got some interesting ideas. Like the maze. After meeting the scion in charge of the maze, Leo was just glad they decided to try to tank with Poe instead of Tiny. Poe at least was a straight-up fight, more or less. Tiny would have simply incapacitated them one by one, without ever presenting a target. He's pretty sure Poe could have, too, but the Marshal wanted to play with his prey before going in for the kill. Or the knockout, thankfully. He growls on the memory of following that group, that halfling, and fouling him, instead of the proper taming process. He couldn't even abandon her because of that, not until she stopped paying the upkeep at least. With her knocked out, the spell wore off at least. The other scions all seem surprisingly powerful too. Most of them don't even fight. They should be masters and mistresses of their lairs, ready to defeat any delvers stupid enough to test them. But instead, they're busy doing practically everything but fight. Then again, they're kept busy. A steady stream of rabbits, not the occasional elk. Even seeing the results, Leo still finds it hard to believe. He didn't believe the claim of the pup of an alpha subsuing Everest, not until the talk got to the graveyard and the mausoleum. His old dungeon knew of the blighted cemetery, and was just glad it was so far away, but Alpha Therium was able to subsume it, and has the conduit Fluffles as proof. He shudders at the idea of having encountered him instead of Poe or even Tiny. Even the last spider would have expended some effort. Fluffles could have done practically anything to them, without even moving a muscle. Seeing the wolf den in the back of the cemetery helps calm his mind, though. It looks basic but comfortable. If his new alpha can keep this kind of mana flow going, the den will be seeing upgrades soon, and Leo can have a true pack once more. Although, after meeting the other scions, he gets the feeling he's a lot closer to having that already. The Office of Dungeon Affairs. Tellar fights the overwhelming urge to hit her head against her desk as Tal gives his report. She somehow manages to resist, but can't stop the groan that escapes her. They seriously thought Therium was a toy box and threatened a resident? Tal shrugs. That's what Timo said. They hadn't recovered enough to be able to give their side, but I can't think of anything else that would earn that kind of reaction. At least the townsfolk aren't worried about Poe acting like an avatar of the Raven, he offers his co-worker. She didn't look very comforted by that. I got a lot of them checking in that everything was fine after that display too. Did you know Therium's signs were that strong? He shrugs again. I had an inkling. Recall that I suggested a high-level inspector a while ago. Though with the new crypt complex, as Therium likes to call it, I might be able to go get me a couple of levels. I still doubt I could take any of the science besides Rocky, even with some extra experience. I think even Head Priest Torlon would have trouble if the dungeon decided to get serious. So you think it will be more serious from here on out? She asks. She's pretty sure Therium won't change just because of one party, but Tar's the experienced inspector here. She relaxes when he immediately shakes his head. No,
He's smart enough to know people like that exist. And smart enough to have come up with a good punishment for those who try. He's probably going to do a few new things too. His resident got a good scare, but I don't think he's going to react like Hullbreaker did. They both grimace at the memory of what happened there. Tellar continues first. What do you think of the jail and gauntlet combination? He sighs at that. I think it'll work, which is concerning. I asked him to make it a secret, and he seems to be working on that. He might have it hidden or at least secure by the time that group wakes up. He might even specifically be keeping them unconscious until it's all ready. He does have that alchemist scion. Leaf Cutter Queen Ant alchemist. She nods at that, adding the information to the packet. I take it you won't be telling the Southwood about the combo? What did Thedium authorize you to share? Well, technically they could share any information they acquire. Certain dungeons like their privacy. It wouldn't do to upset the dungeon in the center of their town. Tellar's musings on dungeon relations drift to a halt as she realizes Tal hasn't spoken up. She looks to see him looking off in the distance, thinking, before slapping both palms to his face. Ah, you forgot to ask.